very, very useful. You have resins. Resins are solid residue from oil to pentine for temporary closure of wound, and they are used as disinfectants. You see their usefulness. Then camphor. Camphor is a solid from the wood of camphor tree used for cosmetics and medicine. Then tannins. Tannins present in the oak bark are used for making ink, and the tannins of mangrove are used in tanning of hides into leather. Tannins are also present in tea leaves. Then another excretory substance is anthocyanin. Anthocyanins are used for dyeing. They are used as dyes. Then gums. Gum is an excretory product of plant. It is used as adhesive to gum substances together. From our class on excretory system, these are questions for you to answer. The first, which of the following waste products in plants is excreted through the stomata and the lenticule? A. Carbohydrate. B. Alkaloid. C. Tannin. D. Anthocyanin. Number 2. The nitrogenous substance that is excreted by birds in order to conserve water is A. Ammonia. B. Urea. C. Uric acid. Then D. Nitric acid. Number 3. Regulation of blood sugar level takes place in A. Pancreas. B. Ileum. C. Liver. D. Kidney. Number 4. Urea formation occurs in the A. Heart. B. Liver. C. Lung. D. Kidney. Then the last question, number 5. The kidneys of all vertebrates act as osmoregulators. This means that they keep the composition of the plasma constant, they regulate osmotic processes, they control the volume of blood entering the kidneys, they decrease the osmotic pressure of blood, they increase the osmotic pressure of blood. So the answer to number 1 question is A. Carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is excreted through the stomata and the lenticels. Then number 2, the answer is C. Uric acid. Uric acid is the nitrogenous substance that is excreted by birds in order to conserve water. Then number 3, the answer is C. Liver. Regulation of blood level takes place in the liver. Number 4, the answer is B. Liver too. Urea formation occurs in the liver. Then number 5, the answer is A. The meaning of kidneys acting as osmoregulators is that they keep the composition of the plasma constant. Now we move on to talk about nutrient cycling in nature. So we're talking about various cycles, and the first we're talking about is the carbon cycle. Carbon cycle. Carbon cycle is the circulation of carbon between living organisms and the environment. The circulation of carbon between the living organisms and the environment. Carbon dioxide, CO2, is added to the atmosphere during respiration and decay. When an organism undergoes respiration, CO2 is added to the atmosphere. Then when there is decay occurring, CO2 is also added to the atmosphere. So this is the diagrammatic illustration of what happens in the carbon cycle. So you have carbon dioxide in the atmosphere being used up by green plants for photosynthesis. Then you have putrefaction of animals, burning of fuel, coal and wood. You have putrefaction by plants. Respiration of plants will lead to carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. Then you have the plants respiring, the animals too respiring, respiration in animals. Then eventually the plants and the animals die. So they also give up carbon dioxide in decay. When they decay, you have carbon dioxide in nature. So that's the cycle. The cycle keeps continuing like that. So that is how carbon flows in the environment. The burning of coal, wood, oil and fossil fuel release carbon dioxide. Then green plants, in the process of photosynthesis, manufacture carbohydrates from carbon dioxide and water. Then when the atmosphere contains excess carbon dioxide, some of it is dissolved in the water. Then the water gives up some of its carbon dioxide when there is a deficit of CO2 in the atmosphere. The water is like a storage for the place where the carbon dioxide is stored. So when there is deficit, when there is shortage in the atmosphere, the water gives up some of the CO2. Then this brings about a fairly constant proportion of CO2 in the atmosphere. Then all organic compounds, including protoplasm, carbohydrate, protein, lipid, and enzyme DNA, they contain carbon. Carbon is vital to the existence of plants and animals because it is responsible for all physiological processes in plants and animals. So carbon is very, very essential. Then the next cycle we're talking about is the water cycle. Also the movement of water in the environment between living things and non-living things. So you have the cloud there, then the precipitation, whereby we have rain, snow, and hail. So water coming upon the atmosphere. So it goes into the groundwater. Can you see that? It goes into the groundwater. You have the lake, the river, and the sea. So the water that comes from the cloud and penetrates into the soil, then it flows into the water bodies. After a while, when the sun comes out, you have evaporation. The water goes up again. You have transpiration from vegetables. Plants absorb some of those water, so they also undergo transpiration. So it takes it up. River, also there is evaporation in the river and in the sea, so it goes back up into the sky. The circulation of water in an ecosystem is referred to as water cycle. Water evaporates from surfaces of rivers, oceans, lakes, and soil in the form of vapor. It then rises and cools, condenses. So it rises, it cools, and condenses. Then it then precipitates or falls as rain. Plants and animals absorb water from their external environment. Once the rain falls, animal is absorb the water in form of drinking and all that. Then also the plants absorb the water for its growth. Then most of the water from plants, most animals obtain their water from plants. When they eat the plants, the water is indirectly in their body. Then they lose the water by respiration. That is, animals lose the water by respiration, by excretion, and then by decay when they die. So that's the cycle of water. It comes down, then when there is evaporation and transpiration, it goes back up. So that's the cycle. It keeps going up like that, like that. Then uses of water in plants. What uses does water have in plants? One, it's a vital constituent of the protoplasm. Then it's a raw material in photosynthesis. Water is very essential for photosynthesis. It's a medium of diffusion of gases in and out of the cell. Water is used for dispersal of some seeds. Some seeds are dispersed by water. So it helps in propagating seed and eventually reproduction. Then it's also useful in seed germination. When there is no water, the seed don't germinate. Then it helps in transfer of gametes of mosses and ferns. Water ensures temperature control through transpiration. Then the cooling effect of transpiration. Then also, water ensures the production of new protoplasm for growth, the maintenance of cell turgor in herbaceous plants. Then it's a transporting medium for particles of mineral salts and soluble organic materials. Uses of water in animal. The body of the animal, that is the protoplasm, water forms the main constituent, about 90%. Water is the main constituent of the protoplasm, the tissue fluid, the blood, and the lymph. So that is a major usefulness of water in animals. Then water is a medium of transport of nutrients in the body of the animal. It's also the solvent for removal of excretory products from the body. Various excretory products can be removed from the body by operation of water. For instance, ammonia and urea, they are dissolved by water, so they can be easily excreted. Then water is a component of secretion, e.g. digestive juices. Then it's also a medium of biochemical reactions in the cell. Water aids digestion, it aids excretion, and even circulation. Water is lubricant for external movement in snail and even earthworm. Discover that when earthworm or snail is moving, you find water all around them, so it helps them to move. Also, water ensures temperature control through sweating. It helps in the dispersals of larval stages of aquatic animals. Then water aids movement in the guts, in the vagina, and in the synovial fluid in joints. So water aids movement in all these parts of the body. Water also acts as support. For instance, in the amniotic fluid, when there is a pregnant animal, whether man or lower animal now, the baby is kept in a medium called the amniotic fluid. So it's a fluid that supports the baby in the womb. Also in the erection of penis, water is also very, very essential. Now we move on to talk about the nitrogen cycle. That's the next cycle we'll be talking about. The nitrogen cycle is a sequence of physical and chemical processes by which atmospheric nitrogen